All right, let's get things kicked off. What's up, Prime Force? What's up, Wyatt? Wyatt rocking the full clear already. Nice and timely. That is, I'm trying to like inch my time slot forward. I do like being the first attacker in a lot of respects. Although, unfortunately, I think ships bled me a little bit too hard last week. Actually, it's a couple of things. I think ships bled me a little bit too hard, and I think I've been focusing too much on like roster efficiency wins, and I've been getting a little bit complacent on the just the banner obsession, right? Like, I mean, that was originally a lot of what I was doing when I first started streaming GAC, and like, yeah, it's like kind of tee-hee cute. Like, we get a full clear and we have like a couple of power teams left sitting around, but also for the most part, that's, I think that needs to be a focus. I mean, 3v3 next time. 3v3 is like, yes, there are still banners that we can focus on efficiency, but if I'm going the same way as going last time, there's gonna be some fireworks. There's gonna be some banner loss going on there. I haven't decided yet. Last time I would just go like full nuclear defense and then just pick apart Galactic Legends on offense. And maybe that's not the best idea, let's say. Well, I mean, I won every single time, so like, hey, it worked there, right? But if we care about our score, perhaps, let's say, then maybe getting multiple battles of like, I was gonna say 5+ attempts, and that's almost generous. It was true for Kylo. It was like 3 to 5, but those Ray battles. It needs. If I fight you in 3v3, you're gonna get an absolutely boosted defense hold score. Your wins aren't going up, but maybe a little bit more holds than you deserve. But hey, I had to get the good preloads, so it all works out. Yeah, we've got a. Yeah, it's a fine matchup today, right? Still kind of the trend for this entire week. They're about ahead by a million GP for change. This case, like 900,000. I'm ahead in top 80 GP. I tried to bloat, and matchmaking just didn't care. It's just matchmaking couldn't see it. I think it might almost just have to do with, I think, trying to lock in last minute after doing all my remodding last minute. I'm gonna try next 5v5 season. I want to try to do the remod early and lock in early and see if we can get some better quality matches. What's up, Sam? Where do we get the stats for your opponent? This is using the hotbot from Discord. I have it in my Discord server, but honestly, you can just find it most places. But yeah, hotbot, aka hot utils, is technically where it's hosted online, but yeah, it's mostly just a Discord bot. Yeah, I don't know. It's a pretty nice deal. You know, like DSR bot was kind of the first one around, and this kind of just has some better, you know, visual overlay. DSR just kind of feels like you get hit by a wall of text and numbers sometimes, and this is a little bit more nicely organized. Yeah, I gotta be honest. After all the mod luck that I had this last round, it actually kind of hit me like a sack of bricks that I now have 8 25+ speed mods, which, you know, I'll take it. It's hard to be mad at that. Still feels a little bit undeserved almost, because I've seen people with way higher 15 to 20+ ratios than I have with. I mean, you know, whatever, right? I have left plenty of 15 and 10+ mods just laying around. I don't equip every mod of that number just to inflate that number. I just mod people who I'm bringing. So, I don't know. It's hard to say with that stuff, right? Like, maybe technically my 20+ number might actually be a little bit low, all things considered, but this guy has terrible luck with high rollers. Yeah, like, literally, we have the exact same 20 and 15 ratio, right? Literally the exact same. And then just, if only we could draw like a little line in the middle of that zero, where this might be a bit more even. Yeah, it's weird. I'm still not used to it yet. And it's almost poetic justice that I was able to hit this, and we're still not really in a speed meta. We still don't really have characters that are like remember, like, right, like, Darth Revan was probably the apex of it that we've gotten recently, right? Of just like, yeah, this is, you give, well, most people give it to Darth Revan, right? But like, in my case, you take your best set, you split it in half a little bit, or, you know, you pray that you have 2 top tier sets with about the same speed def, and then you give Malik as fast as he can get without sacrificing Darth Revan, then get the Revan to 1 lower, And that was kind of the end of that. Like, Finn, maybe there was a period of time where it felt like Finn, you needed to get him fast. I feel like that's also kind of ended. Certainly when Tanktron came around, that extremely went away, but I feel like that was also true before then. But yeah, you know, right? It is what it is. For a lot of players, I think, especially with 6D through 6A making speed more accessible, and also this meta not really caring too much about your speed cap, I feel like there's probably never been a better time to compete with whatever mods you're bringing to the table. Like, of course, if you have some power mods, you can still try to do some extra stuff with it, but it's not like... If you had a Darth Revan that was just slower than everybody else's, you fundamentally had to learn how to play the game different. That was just a weirder time for the game, honestly. So yeah, you know, we've got a fairly straightforward board. Not really worthy of the win condition slide, so I'm kind of down to just go on past it and head to the GAC map. Yeah, and I mean, to some degree, kind of what I was talking about to begin with is the whole, like, there are a lot of fights here that I was just handshaking 55s on that I think I want to start pushing back on. I'm not sure to some degree if part of that just has to do with teams I was leaving on defense, or like, you know, I haven't put too much practice on leaving Pyatt alone, or like working with Pyatt with Vader instead of Bastila. Like, Bastila's definitely been a crutch character there sometimes, and having Gear 12 Sunfac also definitely has to do with that. But you know, basically just anytime that I see a Grievous, I kind of just automatically handshake. Like, it's going to be a 55 most likely. Maybe sometimes Panda gets a 57. That was a nice trend lately, but you know, compared to if I could just EPBSF them for 60, that would be a huge efficiency play. And I guess the one bright side in all of this, which is probably what we're going to be doing immediately here, is some more messy action. So let's just knock that out now. Cue the snooze fest or whatever, but you know what? I mean, we've been getting out of these fights. Well, okay. I've been getting out of these fights in Turn Wars or other modes more quickly in the last couple of months. GAC feels like it's still extending sometimes, but so Shakti is gonna make this a little bit weirder with some stealth on Anakin sometimes. We could just basic on Padme for now. I'm definitely gonna turn off auto in between just to see if we can set that up. I guess maybe we could like opt to bully Shakti a little bit instead. I have been on the fence about just straight up going for the R7 on her at some point. Right, like if we're already there. Okay, there's the stealth. Now we're off to the actual part that we're supposed to be doing. I don't think this is gonna have a shot at being a bonk. We'll see. I'm turning off auto a lot here and it's making me a little bit nervous. Yeah, see, this is already, he's got protection. I think we're going first. Yeah, just back on basic. I've been a lot more proactive with our first special snipes lately, but yeah, we timed out with such a narrow margin last time that it does just make me nervous a little bit here. Yeah, we're not gonna be one. Alright, if this next one lines up well, he's got some protection, we'll get the armor ignore. This could be an opportunity. He's got foresight. We leave it. Alright, we're at 40% turn meter right now. We'll see if he cycles back fast enough. Nope. He's got protection. He's not going to go. We'll leave it. It was a little bit humbling. I went back and looked at some of Clash's old, I don't know, call it whatever, documentation for this team. His nest had like 1,000 more offensive lines, which, like, I've got the sweet spot for tenacity now, so in some respects, I'm kind of okay with that. But definitely it made me think about how long it's been taking some of these kills to happen, and like, yeah, his is Relic 7, but 1k gap is still pretty wide even for... That might have been able to be a bonk, actually. That might have needed to have been an Anakin kill here. Focusing too much on talking. This looks like it might be an opportunity. I will say I do enjoy this new, more proactive playstyle, but like, if you're not on point with reading when it's going to be a good opportunity. Actually might be a kill though anyway. Okay. Honestly, I almost just flipped into the wrong other side of the mindset, which is if it's not a middle special snipe, then I'm probably not killing him. Which, not really true here. Alright, back on her. Hopefully Shock T won't cause too much of a delay here. Alright, she's got crit immunity, so unless she beats us out here... Whoa, okay, I'd be gone. Come on. I seriously thought... I mean, fair enough, right? She's on full health, not Anakin isn't. I thought that was it, though. At least she can't stealth that, man. That counter does suck, though. That's cool. Just to make sure that we get some protection back. Alright, if this doesn't go away, then we kind of need a Hail Mary bonk to get back into this. I think she's going to go before Nest. We might be able to fix something. Oh, that's another snipe. Take it back. Okay, this should definitely be timeout here. I feel like if we got that Anakin snipe that I called out that I missed, I feel like this could have actually worked. Nope. She had the purple. She got the purple like on the last turn that before I chose to do that. We're just getting desperate now. Alright, let's at least try to take out Padme here. Oh wait, didn't I time out on Padme last round? Isn't that actually what cost me the win, maybe? I think he just had really bad efficiency, so I assumed that we were both like, in the same boat. I don't think it was actually Shipton. I think it was probably just Padme. The slow-mo Ahsoka walk-up. I mean, I've always talked in the past about how I don't like Shock T in this matchup for the most part, but again, I think just being more proactive with earlier snipes has helped this matchup a lot lately. Let's see for a second, actually. Like, my offense on most of these mods is ridiculously low. So, I mean, let's see. It actually might be more of a priority than I'm giving it credit for, that we might need to do some 60 to A work on this sooner. Right, of like... If we can hit percent tenacity, or... we kind of do just need it to be percent tenacity, but like... This would help the consistency on this matchup so much. This... Like, honestly, if we had this, then that attempted snipe on Padme would have finished. That... Yeah, Joss, I think that was last round, so... I think that just means that he had rough efficiency, which I guess still favors my defense plan, but just... Right, like, it's percent offense here, but... Just want to take a look at this real quick. And that's 4 dot, kind of dead on arrival anyway. Yeah, I don't know. It just feels kind of weird. This seems like a no-brainer swap. I feel like I went off of this swap because I tried it with Mando lead and we died. But... I mean, 62k is a little bit low, but we didn't really... I mean, okay. With Shock T there today, and this was only a Relic 5 Ahsoka, we did get chunked to like 50%, 40%. So there is a plausible world where this would have been... this would be dangerous for us. I think we're straight up just concerned about damage right now, right? Like, look, that secondary alone already gets us almost 300 extra offense. What's a bash dunk? mean, we're not doing any secondary filters at all. The problem with tenacity focus like this is this tenacity has actually been overkill for this entire season, but that's also easy to say because we've never focused on a Padme team that really brought much extra potency to the table. So like, it's one of those things that is kind of unnecessary, but I don't. All right, it's easy to say like, we didn't need that this time, but like, you don't need it until you do. I mean, every slot now is like 7% to 9%. I don't know, maybe I'll switch to this cross for now. Or, yeah. I think this is a good start. Maybe, this still feels too early to be doing this yet, right? But I do kind of want to try to fish this guy. Because if I could get this cross with the percent offense, and this diamond with the percent offense, and like equal tenacity here, I think this would be just such a nice boost in kill speed, just in general. It would be, and if I could, like, I would need to check timetables on when I'm finishing Palpatine, but if I could just get her to R7, then yeah. But like, this nest I have been knowingly cutting corners on for a while, and like, it's just about now that in GAC she's been running into some timeout roadblocks more consistently than I would like. It was kind of like a 1 in 20. How much tenacity does she have? I got her up to 179, which I thought felt really, really nice, because she used to be like 160 to 165, which, you know, I just didn't have the tenacity depth at the time. But like, yeah, I'm plenty happy with this number. It's just, it would prove to be a little bit excessive, and we were missing other stats. But yeah, I think starting with this and then working up from there. Because this alone isn't going to be enough to solve what happened today. It actually might have for this specific one, but in the future, we're going to need some more. We'll see. It's not going to be a problem for the next month, at least. Yeah. Alright, that sucks. That also means I'm only killing one. I honestly, that was some unlucky counterattacks on Padme at the end there. But I wonder if I should have just stuck on Shock T. Right. We actually could GG this as cleanup. I don't know that I'm expecting... Let's see, actually. The only team I particularly would like want to make extremely sure that I would have GG ready for would be Chupio. Probably not getting posted on defense. I may be willing to take that gamble. Let's try this out. Alright, whatever, right? We already got Kyber for today. Or for this season. We're not contesting top of leaderboard. Especially not after what Lady Ness just did, so let's run this old counter back. It's been a while. Depending on what their immediate preload is going to be, this might start off a little bit weirder than I would like. Okay. Alright, we got opportunities to get AoE target lock at least. That's all we're really looking for. Got 3 of them. Thank God for potency modding. I would love to see some target lock here. I don't think that's really gonna be happening. I'm assuming there's a Padme heal coming up in our future here. We might have to re-earn some of that back. This was a little bit unfortunate. So the way this matchup usually went, I used to run this in GAC, actually kind of a lot, is we just aim at GK the whole time and kill them with AoEs. Let's see. This is going to hurt B1 a little bit. That was... You know what? Hard to complain about that. I actually was surprised that Ahsoka wasn't technically the squishiest there, but I guess her having crit immunity would actually put her over. That Ahsoka dodge. She might actually get a little bit of courage here. Ah, she's at 4. This might be a Padme kill. Alright. Yeah, we're still aiming at DK. B1, given this opportunity, we can actually aim off. This is like the one chance where you get to try to spread out target lock yourself manually, other than GGAOE for the indirects. Let's keep the GK taunt. We won it most of the time. Oh, Padme's dead. Wait, we just get to take that. Although we do want to try to top some people off. I think we should have snuck a heal on dude in there. Let's say, yeah, we got it for a GG and B1. Oh well. And -3. Gives a preloaded Padman. Not the worst efficiency-wise. Don't really mind spending them other than a CLS fight in rear, which I don't think we're going. We'll see. But yeah, not bad. We don't. I guess Poe is worth checking speeds on, but otherwise, this should just be a fairly straightforward GTR. Yes. For a racing game, that would. JTR fight. I mean, this could be a JTR as well. I don't think it needs to be done. Like, it's favorable because there's no Zeta Phasma lead, but the banners haven't been super great. Just when there's that much potential AoE damage taxing, and it's a JTR without 3PO or RH Finn, there's just a little bit too much for my liking. We'll see. Alright, so technically speaking, it's awkward because I'd love to daze one of the vets and kill the others to start off, but if Finn goes and cleanses, then it's going to make this whole thing a little bit clunky. We didn't get the daze either, which actually kind of hurts that whole idea. Alright, we need exposes. More damage on the leader than I'd like here, but I think we can stall on the rest until we get back to a vet daze attempts. Do you only want tenacity sets on her? Yeah, you need to have. Actually, let me finish this fight. We'll come back to that in a second. What's up, Delta? I actually don't think I like that move I just did. I would have preferred to have tried to keep that expose him because we're about to get TMR'd. Not the worst here, but I kind of just want to Hail Mary expose now. We did get it, but he's still gonna go. Alright, very fortunate timing of that Mind Tricks. It still does mean, however, that we're gonna have to deal with the vets a more old-fashioned way. Oh, that's actually really cool. Fun fact for Rose, because people don't really know her kit. I actually wasn't sure if this was going to work that way or not. So when the stun ends, the daze pops in, so I wasn't sure if cleansing the stun was going to make him eligible to call or not, but the daze kicked in before the assist attempt happened, so... Yeah. Kinda cool, right? Alright, not landing this daze has really been made Vet Han more of a pain than he needs to be. Because I would much rather kill Vet Han than Chewie. But him not being in stealth also is a pain. I don't think this should kill Vet Chewie, so we can take this risk. Alright, simple enough. I don't think we're getting anything more than a 58 here. I don't think there's any real option, so we'll just finish that. Yeah, so Ashtonk, with the Nest against Padme, the biggest concern here is we need to have 100% more tenacity than they have potency on their Padme and Anakin. And, like, technically Grandmaster Yoda if he's present, but you don't tend to see that often, and also that risk kind of goes away if you have Kira lead. Like, not entirely, but kind of. Right, so, you know, like, just talking about today, right, with how much tenacity I'm bringing versus his Galactic Republic. So, like, his Padme, 68% potency, so we would only technically need 168 or 179, so that extra 11% from using my max rolls on my tenacity sets technically wasted. You know, same here, 61% potency, but you know, if we start dipping into like potency primaries or secondaries or D3PO being there or some sort of thing, that overhead tends to really help a lot. It's just a balancing act, I guess, in this case of, right, it's like there's like 3 doors you need to check. It's like, do you have enough potency, yes or no? Or sorry, do you have enough tenacity? It's like, if the answer is yes, then you don't have to worry about dying really, so you'd get through door number 1. Door number 2 is kind of like, do you have enough health? You know, kind of the same thing, we just need to worry about staying alive the whole time, so they can't fully kill Nest. Mostly, you're just expecting a kill shot from like an Ahsoka special if you've got the wrong amount of health, and especially, you know, Shakti being there with Ahsoka, or Shakti gives her offense up. That is a huge concern. So that's like door number 2, and then door number 3, which is the one that I've run into the most, is a mix of offense and speed, right? Of, can you actually physically kill them all in time? Now, like, it's kind of, there's like some different tiers to that, right? Because, like, you know, kind of what I was trying to sneak in there today didn't quite happen this time around, is this special, which Shakti actually helps, by the way. Sudden impact. You'll see if they had protection, we do 50% more damage and ignores armor, which, you know, that's significant. Like, in some respects, Shakti actually kind of helps tee you up for that. But at the same time, you know, like, she puts stealth on Anakin, some other factors, so you're at 40% tenacity, you should probably get the higher. Yes. Whatever, I mean, I think the minimum for if you just run 3 tenacity sets plus 6E tenacity cross, that already gets you, I think, pretty decently along the way there. And then from there, pretty much if you're farming tenacity in general, for the most part, I would say you want to focus on tenacity rolls for them. I mean, there are some exceptions, right? Especially in my collection, even of just like, let's get on. We don't even need to be here. Sorting by tenacity. All right, like, we got some of these, but then you get over to well, not the one. Yeah, something like this, of like, right, like the tenacity never really got hit. High speed, of course, still fine. Like, there's some characters who the team brings them so much at 8 tenacity that you don't necessarily need more offense and more speed. So Clash is kind of the main person who pioneered this, and I know Clash is a, you know, pound the desk for more offense type of person. I have always liked speed in the matchup more. My argument being, if we just go back to the GAC, and this would be easier to pull up the VOD, but whatever, right? So, actually, I didn't even look. There's no Kylo, actually, which is a little bit surprising. Yeah. That's Wampa. It's about what you expect to see Wampa being. Right, so think about it this way, is if you have a faster Anakin, or sorry, if you have a faster Nest, then you are potentially putting more pressure on Anakin before you give the team, you know, Ahsoka special, Padme heal, Shakti heal. You're putting more pressure on Anakin to get the kill on him sooner, because that's essentially, this is a 3-step process. You get the Anakin kill first, then the Padme kill, then once Padme is dead, it's basically, at worst, usually like a 30-second fight. Because you can now counterattack everyone, your damage is through the roof at that point. So the hardest part is just getting through any possible like counterattack protection they might have had up at that point. You know, maybe on like GK or something, but or like maybe the most awkward for this team if these two are dead is like Shakti puts stealth on Ahsoka. Ahsoka assists take forever as well, so that could eat up some time, right? But like once you get to this point, it's not a long fight. Not to be a picky beggar or a choosy beggar, but you kind of like you probably want both, which I think is why I was kind of mad at myself after I looked at this. I think that this was just an old like knee-jerk reaction to having Nest die once, but right, this is literally a situation of why choose. I mean, like, of course, this is a bulkier, more survivable Nest, but with the higher tenacity count that I have now, I think we can get away with this potentially. And by the way, protection isn't a dead stat on Nest if you're bringing Kira lead. If you're trying to do like, you know, most people I think know Farm Boy Luke lead. I know some of the players probably aren't as aware, but Mandalorian lead can absolutely work in that role as well. Kind of doubling up on what I said about I kind of like speed in the matchup. But I think the problem is if you're running these side leads, I think it puts a lot more stress on you to bring enough health, right? Kira lead giving you protection back kind of lets you get away with running a greedier Nest in some respects because we don't have to worry about hitting a minimum amount of health as our protection is coming back for the most part. Which is also actually part of an issue if you see Padme or Anakin or whoever you're going for get their, like, get counterattacked and they get that locked protection, you actually really need to pull off in that and try to hit somewhere else, because that is one of the chances where they could kill you, is, you know, your Nest takes your turn, or like takes the turn she was going to take, she doesn't get a crit, she doesn't get protection back, suddenly you're more vulnerable if that happens to line up. Right, so like this 30% crit chance is a dead stat, but like, you know, 20 speed, 35% tenacity compared to like Farm Boy Luke, I know is one of the more popular ones, which I believe is just 50%. So you sacrifice 15% tenacity, you gain 20 speed. I think that's worthwhile. You could argue that by going faster, you're actually losing your purple shield more, so that may be a little bit riskier. I don't know. Again, I like speed here. I guess if you have enough offense like Clash does on his Nest, then you can kind of... The speed doesn't really matter, right? You're getting to the kill shot sooner anyway. I guess the best answer would just be to work with what you got. Without Farm Boy lead, I haven't really messed with it much. My gut reaction would be that you'd have to specialize your Nest's mods. You need to bring some extra health, right? Because you're not going to be getting that protection back. You need to make sure that, like, this would not fly. This one, I've absolutely fought Ahsoka's that would punish this Nest. I mean, that is literally, I'm pretty sure after I tried Mando lead one time, and she just straight up got killed, I was like, all right, we need more beef. So I'm pretty sure I used to be running this, but yeah. It's just a balancing act, right? If you have, like, my Nest used to have like 160 to 165% tenacity, and in that case, you probably actually need to consider being prepared to run Farm Boy or Mando lead instead. So in that sense, yeah, like, I think the best answer I can give is just work with what you got, because we all have different levels. Like, I did not have this, or even this, or this, until 2020, like midway through 2020. So, right, like, and I'm not expecting most people to have that. I was actually like pretty ecstatic, even though this is not a great mod. Like, the best thing I can say is just like yes, yes, and then yes. But like, the rest of this does not matter for the counter. Crit chance is a dead stat. Like, again, protection, health, sure, but like, it's technically just three, maybe technically 4 things, right? Get your tenacity to, like, I would say 170 to 175 is like a happy place, and then like if you can hit like 179 to 180, then you're like super secure. Then try to get your health to like 65k ish, which, by the way, like, I think a lot of people would recommend R7 Nest. Again, it kind of depends on what mods you have, because like, you know, I could, like, 65k is the general number I've seen thrown around and I've kind of used personally. If I ran that 15 speed offense tenacity mod and just took it to R7, that would still hit 65k. Well, I guess a little bit. We get hyperdrive bundle. Yeah, I mean, in terms of monetary value, the hyperdrive continues to be one of the best things in the game. I mean, I personally would have loved to have just been able to opt out, because I guess for the most part, aside from like this, you know, it's kind of just there being unused for now, right? And like, I mean, I guess it's kind of nice credit-wise, right? It's like, we get a little bit of a bump. I guess this is probably like 8-9 mil total, maybe like 10 mil. But yeah, I mean, you can tell just by looking here, right? The goal name means hyperdrive. All right, let's continue. We got Array double pre-taunts. Well, technically not, but we're probably gonna have to let her ult, so let's do this a little bit differently. This isn't just gonna be the classic. All right, still Thrawn lead. I think we can still get away with that. Let's just put in bitter firsts. Is there a possibility that we could actually just snipe Panda though? We actually might. No, close. Like, right, so like technically, this is my favorite. We could probably just cut out Bastila, maybe even cut out Treya. Let's check the Ray modding first. Also, wait. This is not an ult, right? I'm getting way ahead of myself here. Alright, GBS probably, definitely mandatory. Not for the reason that I would usually bring him, but pretty required all the time. So let's... The problem is, if we bring GBA, then we kind of lose the whole point of Throne lead, so I think that pushes us over here. It actually could open up EPBSF. Alright, let's plan along that line. So that should put us on Watt, feeling like a pretty comfy draft here. And as a cleansing finisher, let's... I mean, Treya is a nice convenience. I'm not going to take that away from her, and that might just be enough to get me to bring her. We could go Pyat. My Pyat is no longer a death risk, at least. I still haven't really actually bothered to run him yet. I mean, let's see. He's probably going to be taking 1 Whirlwind's worth of damage on top of Fang Grenade. Which is maybe less than ideal. We could maybe get away with it. Suggestions for squads developed after Geos and Padme? We're at a very weird time in the game to answer that question. It feels like to some degree the answer is just grab a GL. But that also feels like a pretty irresponsible answer because GL still have a huge investment gap, right? Like, it would have to be like work on Palpatine, I would assume. But even then, like, don't get me wrong, Pyat Imp Troopers, like, you might not always end up using Pyat with Imp Troopers, but they're not the worst invest for GAC. The work Reliking Plo, heck no, absolutely not. My Plo is Gear 9 for ships, and that's like the most he's probably ever gonna get. There are some like off-meta Jedi that are interesting for JML, but I would not call Plo one of them. Plo's niche has been eaten up by a lot more recent release Jedi lately, right? Like, the crowning thing for Plo, as I recall, was this. And since then, we've got a lot more Jedis that can handle the whole Dispel business. You can't go wrong with the Revens. I think I disagree. That used to be true. I think we're fading away from that now. Like, based on how flattened the power curve has become now, right, like, to put it into context, if you're gonna try to get a 7-star Malik, I wish I had this number off the top, but I could actually probably go back and do the math, but it was something like 60, 70 full stun guns. Like, if you choose the 7-star Malik, you are basically committing the amount of guild event token currency it would take you to get a Galactic Legend. Like, would you rather have a Galactic Legend at this point or a 7-star Malik, right? And like, if you go both of the Revens, you're probably looking... let's see. I need a slight refresher here. It's been a minute. I forget, didn't Malik have GP requirements? Yeah, 17,500 GP. I mean, it's not quite as high as the Galactic Legends were. It was like, I mean, Gear 12 versus Gear 13. I don't know, right? Like, double Revan into Malik is not quite the level of a GP or a Galactic Legend event, but it's close enough that I would kind of feel like, why not just go for this route? That, like, I recognize that that's also weird to say because your farming route would kind of favor something more like General Skywalker, just based on what you have so far. But like, General Skywalker's a good character. I'm not saying that he's not, but he's not a daily climb type character, right? I don't know. I guess like it. I want to recognize and still call out that it's a little bit uncomfortable giving advice in this meta since things are still so unclear on like overall power levels. But just in terms of obtainability, like if you have Geos, I'm assuming you mean Geos and not General Grievous, but definitely it seems like still consensus, and this was absolutely true for me when I was playing. Ships, work on your ships, work on. It seems like Geos is a consensus for your position. Secure this income first, and I see a lot of people feel the other way about this, and I honestly, I completely get it, because when you come from other games, you assume that, like, you know, hitting top 500 or whatever is a great thing, but like if you aren't hitting, honestly, like you could say top 10, but like look at the difference in crystals here, right? Like you need to be getting as close to first place, if not arguably at first place in the arenas as you can get, right? Don't think about the rank number at all. Like, yes, I remember the first time that I hit like top 500 and like felt cool and all that, but like straight up, look at this, right? You're not even getting crystals until top 15, and even then it's like hit and spay. So like, don't think of this as like a ranked mode in other games. Just think of this as like a daily chore, and if you get up to the top, then you can get your allowance. That sounds kind of weird to say, but that's straight up how you should feel about it. If you're not able to get up here, then I would try to focus on that first. At least for ships. For squad arena, that's tricky to say because, you know, depending on how old your shard is, how old your account is. Like, it's easy to say for ships because people blow off ships a lot, right? So it doesn't take that much effort to be able to be a star player in your arena, your ship arena. That was absolutely true for me, and I was actually late into my ship arena. Your number one fleet, top 50 squad? Okay, great. That's okay. You're already... Good, you're already on your way then. Yeah, I just... Like, let's put this into context, right? It's like, there will conceivably be a point in time where you might feel a little bit behind on the curve. Like, because the Padme into Separatist curve is pretty standard from what I understand now. It used to be, you know, Phoenix into Jedi, into EP Thrawn, into Revans, and that was kind of the original plan. This sounds like a more standard new plan. It's a little bit easier into ships. You know, I think your fleet arena rank kind of agrees with that. But just for where the arc of the game is now, right? Like, yes, there is some awkward considerations of like awkward matchups for each GL, but if you don't want to get bullied in arena each day, I feel like is what I would say, right? You can absolutely, you know, work on trying to snag a solid counter team that'll let you climb each day, but the problem is you're going to get knocked down after each climb, which means that you're effectively draining crystals over time, that if you just take the possible income cut in the short term and just grab one of these, based on the assumption that it seems like CG is content to have all Galactic Legends be on about the same power curve, that just grabbing one for now seems like a decent choice. I don't know. Again, I say that fully recognizing that it's, at least for players who don't have good arena income, the fact that you already have basically half of your arena income secured makes this a lot more viable for you. I feel a lot less bad saying that, is what I'll say. Right, because like you have, like, it's really hard for people who aren't getting their daily refreshes for the most part to just be like, oh yeah, just get the Galactic Legend, right? It's like, there's a disconnect here. I'm getting like one Cantina refresh per day. What the heck are you talking about? But you know, even if you're getting half of your income daily, you can still min-max that and move that around to where it needs to be for the most part, right? Like, because you're not always going to need to do the 3x100 Cantina refreshes, right? For me, Cantina signals, I only do triple Cantina daily, and those tend to get done before everything else. But, like, you can actually just conceivably cut those and just go to, like, ship refreshes plus, you know, mod refreshes or whatever. Because, like, if you're getting half of your daily income, I understand that mod refreshes are probably going to get cut sooner than the rest. Alright, let me get back into this real quick. I assume that if one stream is still up, then people aren't going to assume that the other stream listing is going to start immediately, but I still feel like I should change that, so I just want to do that real quick. Alright. I have to freestyle this fight a little bit. I don't think it's going to be that bad. Maybe the worst part of it is going to be the fact that this raid doesn't have ultimate, which, by the way, does make this team harder, actually. I'm also not a fan of the fact that we're going to have to take GBA with Poe, or up against Poe. But if we don't do this, then there's a solid shot that we're just going to eat a Whirlwind to the face. Thrawn will be the one that dies. She favors, like, focusing on Thrawn first. And let's not do that. I think that's a pretty safe statement. So let's... I don't know, Trey is kind of an awkward bring here. It being double tank with a pre-taunt. There isn't really... Like, Bastila would be a comfort bring, but I would love to not use her here. Bastila would be a slam dunk here, but let's try to play without it. We'll see. We'll see if the game freezes along the way, too. This should just be tank piece on GBA for now to get that stun and buff immunity off, ideally. We could do weapon tech on Vader, but still. Like, call it greedy, but I'm not a fan of... Oh, spicy. I was gonna say, I'm not a fan of doing the Vader combo when they all have all their junk up. Alright, I think I'm just gonna give you this. Like, what's gonna happen here? I think that's gonna feel pretty good. I'm gonna play this weird. Like, this regen tech is supposed to go on GBA. It actually helps him sustain a lot. But I'm trying to think long term here a bit. This is not how you play this matchup normally. Don't take notes. I'm just trying to follow my gut here a little bit. So this heal looks really, really tempting right now, but we're technically supposed to not do this. Again, also a very weird position to be in because he actually could just die to Whirlwind here in a second. So we actually might just have to do this. Alright, this is why we saved Merciless Massacre for one turn. Let's try this. That's why we did that. Okay. Now we play it out. This is the saddest Finn setup I think I've ever seen. I guess, man, both of them are one debuff. That is a bit tragic. I'm almost tempted to just go debuffs down the line. Or basics down the line. We're just missing 80% procs on everyone. That's just what's happening right now. Okay. I mean, if you miss ability blocks that hard, there's maybe something unfortunate going on here. Like, if we had this ability block, the fact that we don't, I think we get the kill here, but She's gonna go to 75, then back to 50, then Whirlwind. We're about 3 turns away. I don't want to take more damage on Vader than we have to, though. Okay. We have to pop special right now. We get that back. That should actually have been aimed at Ray. I don't think we go for Ray yet. Hopefully we can get to what I'm looking for without angering the gods. This is a very weird fight to wing it. The days will be lovely. Thank you. Alright, let's build you back up. Wasn't quite building back up here. Alright, you do look relaxed lately. Alright. That's back. Our Whirlwind defense is back up. She's about to do it. That's fine. Should probably just put this over here. This next Whirlwind is going to suck pretty badly. That actually might be a dead watt. That's more than a dead watt there. I don't think this kills, but I don't think we get another chance. Lifeblood plus crit immunity is a no-go. For sure. Yeah. I don't know. I think that would have felt a lot better bringing Bastila. Like, you know how I was saying the whole time, like, talking about ability block consistently? That would have been where Bastila comes in here. Traya didn't really bring a whole lot. Let's give Ray a turn. Alright, we reset the turn meter for the most part. Yeah, I mean, yes, we get to do this, but I would have preferred not to have that happen. I guess we don't have Traya or Thrones. This is actually a little bit clunky in itself. This is actually gonna feel that great. I mean, we have most of the tools here, but yeah, well, I'm almost willing to say that that was just a straight up bad call. I mean, if you take Bastila out of here, then I don't think this team actually feels any better. It actually feels worse without BSF here, but maybe Pyatt. The problem is, like, with a Gear 11 non-7-star Pyatt, right? Like, we saw how much AoE damage was happening over the course of that fight. The racking potency, though, might have made a difference, though. I don't know, that's a weird call. Like, it was awkward because if we could have done Tank Thrawn, then it would have been a much smoother opener, right? We could just swap Thrawn into GBA, but because, like, if I could just disable Brute from pre-taunting there, it actually would have been so clean. I'm pretty sure Pyatt isn't the answer here either. I'm pretty sure? Is that wrong? We did this last time, and this actually felt amazing. Like, it actually drove incredibly well. Not isolating hold will hurt too. Maybe. I mean, I don't think isolating Holder was all that central. It just became unfortunate when we missed the ability blocks later on. But, I don't know. Let's try this. I mean, whatever. I'm in experimental mode now anyway. Or that was kind of already how I felt today. I just want to see. So basically the whole idea here is Pyatt is going to double hit Emperor Palpatine here. So we give Palpatine inevitable failure, and then every time we basic, it's just going to be a double Palpatine basic consistently. So we spread out shock loops, and then we just go to town. That actually almost might be bad here. It might cause too much damage output, but we'll see. I'm curious. Alright, gets the AoE. Protection is looking fine enough. I'm almost tempted to just basic right now, but if we do, it's gonna throw off our drain too badly. See, this actually is almost bad here. Especially him having counter chance and just double Palpatine countering here. We don't want to kill a droid. If we do, we're in some bad shape. I'm pretty sure that's going to be happening here in a second. Oh boy, buckle in. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. In other matchups, that's actually extremely cool. The fact that we're dumping so much damage onto Magna Guard is... Look, it proves that it works, but it worked too well. The test failed successfully. Or succeeded failfully. Alright, whatever. This is not... Well, if we can get to Nihilus, Annihilate, then it's actually still fine, but his odds of survival aren't super great. Alright, we do have Held by Hatred. We actually could buy some time off that. These counterattacks are actually kind of annoying right now. It actually is costing us a lot of time in this matchup that I would rather not give. If we could kill someone right now, but he already got healed. Like, we can technically kill people with GG Feared. Alright, there's a long-awaited shock. Alright, this is technically fine. We win this, but... Maybe don't do this until Grievous is dead, and then we can have our fun. What actually happens if we do it alone? I mean, he stealths. That's actually not bad. Actually, honestly, I think that would have been fine. I think as long as we didn't give the double assist call to Palpatine at the start, we would still get one. But one isn't the end of the world. That was more damage at a pie than I was expecting. Yep. Don't get me wrong, it's not that strong of a noob, but I actually specifically avoided upgrading that ability so that he wouldn't get that, like, all the offense stacks or anything. I prefer my control. Alright, so like, look at this though. This is like gonna be the probably the easiest way to demonstrate this, assuming that I can even get to that. Let's do like tier 5. So it doesn't even have to be Sith as a follow-up, right? It's just the team comp that can get away with it the cleanest. We do Palpatine and Piet and no other Empire. And then just, it's usually just for me to then leftover Sith that I have to bring. Doesn't have to be, we could arguably do like a Sith Trooper or whatever. Like all that really happened, like all we got to do last time was just, I'll land CBM for starters. He's just gonna die. I'm sad. Let me demo my thing. You jerks. Yeah, he has no way to salvage himself here. But basically, right? So we just get the 5-man AoE shock spread, so Palpatine is gaining technically 50%, but like it's actually 75% here, and he's double basicing. So Plague should kill him off here, but yeah. It was basically almost an infinite loop. Or not like infinite loop, but any Pia turn was just Palpatine immediately went after. It actually made them feel kind of like they were built for each other almost. Right? Like, imagine once you get to this point, it's just a complete lockdown. Oh, wait, he comes back. Oh, sick. Wait, how'd you do it? Yeah. We just keep doing the thing. And then also, yeah, like, look at this. Double. Wait. Oh, did he lose it because Pia died? This is a roller coaster of emotions. This is like, wait, I don't get to demo it. Then, oh wait, he's back. Then, nope, still don't actually get to do it. But I mean, you see what I'm saying, right? Like, stun loops are already a mechanic I enjoy, and then this was just an opportunity to, like, take that to the 11th level. Yeah, he just have it as a restrictions. Ah, that should have been a Basilisk special. Right, but, like, I don't know. I'm not saying this is, like, some insane OP team, but for, like, leftover scraps, obviously, if you have to spend Basilisk here, it's kind of worse. Like, if this is just, like, Scion Nihilus or whatever, it's not bad. You could do a lot worse. Like, maybe the opening will be a bit bumpier, maybe you lose some protection banners, but... And you can cash out. Here we go, yeah. Let's get back to it. Then, like, if Pyatt ever has to counterattack either, it's the exact same story. And Plague is just... Probably don't do this against... I mean, it's the same thing as bringing Thrawn against Night Sisters, right? It's just... The Empire cannot get the cleanse back off of themselves for the most part. I mean... Full turn meter. Like, I almost just wish I didn't bring the extra Sith here just so I could just continue to shock loot people oblivion. Right, like, this doesn't get old. Hey, you get the point. But yeah. That's what I was hoping for. That's what I got. It worked too well. I didn't factor the counterattacks as being... I mean, that was actually kind of crazy RNG though, right? I'm pretty sure it's only like 33% counterattack chance, and we hit that every single time. Okay, 60%. 60% is a little bit higher than 30%. We use GBA. Normally I'd like to try to snipe with Geos, but I don't think that's going to happen this time. Alright, whatever, let's just clear. And, like, the more I'm looking at this, I feel like I just, like... in going harder on defense with more teams committed, there's not a whole lot of teams that can recover max banners. Even against, like, really, really basic stuff, right? Like, even against, like, a Gear 12 Dooku team. Like, we have DR committed, we have CLS committed. Mothma, resistance, protection, regen tools. So, like, even this, to some degree, feels like we're probably going to land about at 55-ish. We'll see. I'm also really curious to see the GAC history for this week, because CLS got one-shot twice, and I'm curious how they did that. It's possible they actually used GL on him, which should technically be a win, but it means that I need to put a little bit more on defense than I have been. I feel like his counterattacks are going to feed him turn meter that I don't want to give him. So the weird thing is he's gonna be crit immune for all. Oh, he's gonna be crit immune. It does not matter. I was gonna say we're gonna give him, like he's gonna have crit immunity the whole time. So the final hit would be the dispel. A bit unfortunate, turn order wise. Does not really seem matter here. Actually, I do want to turn meter remove him for a bit. We can just try to get back to 60. We're actually pretty close. Alzagar time? Is it? I mean, she is like 40-ish%. I don't know if we have to yet. I say that partially because we're going to be doing that a whole heck of a lot next week, 2 weeks from now. I want to save myself a little bit from that. Alright, we got Rex back up. I mean, we are about to get missiles, so let's save the Shock T heal for whatever's about to come there. We might have to use a Rex just to get him out. Alright, let's start using specials just so we have let go assist, less turn meter. Let's just do it. Yeah, not quite what I was hoping to take there. Like, we need to cleanse to get the heal immunity off. I mean, everyone else is max banners. Okay, whatever. This is overkill. I don't know if we can get away with not killing him twice or not. We need Shakti to go before everyone, but I don't think that's gonna happen. Yeah, 5's probably just gonna straight up kill. Yep. Alright, 59. Whatever. Like, it's really unfortunate because I think if that heal immunity wasn't there, we were fine, but just... I don't know. Like, that team is so squishy. Like, if that Zalber was gear 13, we actually could have just had Django go earlier and then just wasted time on Zalber's part, aside from the turret chipping him out. I wonder if... I would have preferred maybe to draft the ability block there, because I think we could have saved our banners. We could have just had 5 taunting basic. We need to have a better way to stop Django from doing a second special there while he has damage immunity. It's like Gas wouldn't do it. Okay. I don't think we need to do this. Ray actually might still go first. She'll basic, she'll go over 50%. Do we actually need to? No, I'm not wasting extra banners. We can do this in 2. Let's just do this. I don't know why I'm stopping to think about this. This is actually like a really good choice. We'll use Cam for the fun of it. Use Cam but not Gar. Look, Cam is the new hotness. People don't even know what's coming. Alright, I'll be a little bit normal people with this battle. Let's start here. I don't know if Finn's on basic. Yeah, he is. Okay. Fair enough. Look at that aggression we got here. Hit him with the moves. Oh, that is actually kind of true. That's kind of cute. Most characters are gonna not have enough health that the, like, from that threshold, like 60% health. I guess this ability is actually kind of sick for fighting Ray. Or Ray lead anyway. Cam's a better call here. Pretty popped off. Problems we're not getting that much actual protection here. Like, we're inching towards like grace period. That is one mistake I do make with Cam still. I'm still not quite used to this character yet. Is I will hit F, which for most characters is what they need to do to cast the lead ability, but for Cam, I'll just, like, his buttons, the rest of his buttons are not that great yet. Put it that way. Wait, is it better if we get Old Ben killed here? It's probably too late. We would have needed to taunt with Old Ben before now. But I think it actually might be better banners, right? We would get 1, 2, 3, 4 back. We would lose 3, gain 4. I think that would actually would have been positive. It's really, really weird to say, I feel like, but I think that's true. Yeah, only 2 full protection. I guess if we got it back to 2 full, then we would have been -3/+2. Comparatively. Yeah, okay. That was still slightly better to do it that way. Alright, and the continuing saga of Padme desperately wants Grandmaster Yoda but can't have him. Is this a better fight than JKR versus BH? Like, would they be better against BH? I think this should be fine. They do have some AoE. There is a chance of 55 here, but we should have our AoE up first. We don't really have a ton of great dispel sources for the most part. We just kind of have the outspeed. technically a waste of courage doing that, but I just want to get more pressure down on Kylo sooner. Just get him dead. Because Kylo's the main person who could actually tax us here, for the most part. Yeah, there we go. Alright, this should be a pretty comfy 60. Yeah. Right, like, the one way that we can lose banners here is Kylo gets some AoEs off. So a couple of people have just lost, or like, consumed all of their protection up, so our protection just gets chipped out. Yes, I did waste a 20 courage bomb on someone who took about 500 damage apiece from it, but believe me, it was worth it. It's at least what I'll keep telling myself. Alright, this could just be a weird... We actually could have gone... we could have gone JK lead, but I actually got his lead, or his speed, a bit higher than maybe it would want to be for this strategy. I don't know if we actually want to bother swapping to JK. Let's just play it like normal people. With the exception of that part, and we'll do that gladly. Alright, with the armor ignored, this should be dead boss. I'd love to not take some deaths to the face, and I think that's about to be. Oh, he might have the Zeta actually. Alright, if we kill... The problem with this is twofold. We have... Like, if we call Bastila, we definitely get full protection banners on her, but I don't know that he's Grace Period. I would say he's not. But if we try to draw this out and try to get both, I feel like like the detonators will definitely cost us too much. So I think we just have to take the end here. We got the Grace Period. Okay. Nice. I'll take that. Not the usual ship order I do. Doesn't technically matter, just makes me feel better. I need to do more research on the Grace Period Prime Force. Or the Gauntlet. Like, give it, and I would say give it like CG time for a requirement, but that window closed. CG just did not. It was just TIE Bomber and that's it. It's unfortunate. I may never have a good Gar Saxon. I mean, it's weird, right? Because I'm plenty happy. Wait, is there a spy? No? Weird. Like, the second round of GLs had way less ship requirements than the first one, and like, in that respect, it's awesome. But given the dynamics of the game, it also means that like, we're farming Bomber for kind of no reason. There it is. Ever lucky. Yeah, a lot of people have done that. I mean, in my case, I'm not posting good ships, so it's some amount of effort that does not matter, right? I was wondering if it was worth taking the special there. We had the offense up to counter the down, so I was trying to tell myself that it was going to be worth it. It wasn't worth it. I should have just... Alright, I wanted to hold the special for this. But considering we just took a face full of buzz droids, wasn't really worth it. Alright, and everyone has offense down, so I think this mass assist might not even get us there. Yeah. And they didn't even get target locked down. Never lucky. Like, if they had target lock down, that would have been a very nice way to end it. The AoE target lock into 5's finisher. But now we're just here, waiting for Ebon Hawk, which, by the way, I feel completely justified bringing him now. Is it better than this? Yes. Because that's not going to kill. At least we get to do this now, which also probably isn't going to land. Oh, it did. Nice. Get me out of here, please. Yeah. I'm assuming he had just like Spy Soldier. I mean, you can kind of tell by the GP, right? Yes. 100% that is what he did. Oh. I guess he did +1. I guess probably like IG 2000 last. Like maybe Spy Soldier IG. Yeah, Paolo, when I say grace period, that's actually what I mean. Is it doesn't have to be 100%, it's more like 95%, but when you're on like that weird like a 96 to 94, it can be really, really hard to tell if you're gonna make it or not when you're trying to make like game closing decisions. Assuming that they have full ship GP prime force. That makes sense. And I assume also assuming of finite combinations of did we get away with one? Doing one. I could very easily regret this. Alright, Hunted won't gain turn meter. This will be called to assist. It just makes this turn order clunky, unfortunately. But they don't have any taunts. So it's still pretty okay, I think. I don't think we need to use special here. I think we just basic. Let's not give the capital ship turn meter. I mean, actually, they were about to go, so that actually would have been an okay time to go for that. I mean, Spy would be a very nice finisher here. Or that could just happen. Okay. Not bad. Look, man, I cannot trash talk the Reaper anymore after it bailed me out that one fight. Alright, this was a bit sloppy, a little bit lazy. I mean, I do think my call was correct. I think that should have been like, we bring Bastila, that fight just becomes a lot easier in so many respects, right? We get the more consistent ability blocks, we get some extra shock for taunt blocking, we get offense down to make Ray's Whirlwind less oppressive AoE-wise on our team, we also get offense down to make their initial combo a lot less troublesome. It's just a lot of factors there. I was actually kind of surprised that, well, no, I'm not really surprised. Yeah, the amount of damage that they did to Thrawn kind of startled me at first, but again, it all just comes back to Bastila, man. It's just Bastila's all the way down. And you know what? I think I disagree with myself, too. I think I disagree with not taking Thrawn lead. Because Poe's move here that I cannot, unfortunately, click on from this screen, we still get a part of the benefit. This has some RNG, but would typically open up Brute. This would Dispel Brute, this would Stun Brute, and this would buff Immunity Brute. So complete Brute disabling, which means that the Fing Grenade would go for Thrawn lead. Thrawn would be more than happy to take that in the lead slot, and we would get TM, and we could get a nice swap. And I think that would have just been a much happier fight. So I think it was maybe a little bit greedy. Like, plus, like, we had Padme for GG. Again, this is kind of back to, like, the 60 versus 55 argument. I don't know. It's hard to say. Maybe I just need to have a Paya done by the next 5v5 season. That would open up some avenues for me right now. Because... Alright, like, Padme would have been 55 to 57 here. Of course, doing it the way we did caused a fail here, and then we brought Bastila, but Pyatt was too many memes, much to control here. I don't think that was the right answer, but... Yeah, I don't know. And then, yeah. I don't think I can R-sub next by next season. I might... Man, we've a month is a lot of time to make some choices. I don't think I'm gonna be hitting the 6D roll on this immediately, but I think it demands. I think Nest and where she's at right now, and also honestly, this is just a pretty well rolled mod. Like we're fairly close to maximum % offense here. It hit 2 5s. This I think is a little bit lower than it could be. I mean, like, what's 4% times 1.33? We're a little bit shy. This is like, what, 0.5% tenacity? I'm not that much of a snob. Right, but like, this isn't like my immediate, but I think like 1 week before GAC 5v5 returns, I think I would happily go for this once or twice. Just see if we can give Nest a nice little bump here. 100% chance it's probably just going to hit crit chance, and I'll be sad because it just changes nothing for Nest in that matchup. But there's a lot of, like, if we get this to 7%, it would be such a huge upgrade with that cross for Nest. What I recommend for the best in my Mothma team? It's not a team that I'm going to be building. Like, that I don't have the money or resources income-wise to build, but, I mean, Pow is pretty core. Cara Dune, if you have her done 7-star, let's get out the mod screen. Cara Dune just adds a decent amount of extra control. You know, we have Pow bringing the TM up, and this is a pretty solid amount of TM down. Plus, her overall stats in the stat share are pretty nice. Off-Rebel Scout isn't a bad choice and isn't a bad gear, as I recall, for the most part. It just pairs nicely with Pow. Right? You're giving... Like, Pow is already TM looping, and then this helps you there. The rest is kind of just flexible based on what you want to bring. I would recommend avoiding base plus Chirrut for defense. That tends to turn the team a little bit into Nest food, in my opinion. Or at least that's how I've been treating it so far, and it's wonderfully so far. And the real answer to the question is just it kind of depends on what you're willing to gear. Like, Bistan maybe has some Pow synergy with the Frenzy, right? Like, you have some decent control tools, right? But, like, unless you've done Bistan for your ship, like, this is all just such a big side gear goal, and, like, this isn't exactly the most impactful, because you kind of have to look at the assists as well, right? Like, Wedge, if you, like, can get a Wedge into a decent spot, this will actually just wreck people. Like, you get that defense down, and then you just keep on hammering the 50% more damage with the offense share as well. And I don't even think it has that bad of an offense ratio to begin with, either. Like, he can drill people repeatedly. But, like, I don't necessarily think that, like, warrants bringing Biggs all the time, either. I mean, I do think Biggs is neat in the sense that he could punish people who aren't thinking much, right? Like, this used to be a pretty prolific unique, and like the game has just evolved a lot since then, but people critically hit a lot now, and people might not necessarily be thinking about how often they're going to be critically hitting Biggs. You could maybe get some value from that on defense. I mean, my defense team in GAC tends to be that. I mean, don't be wrong, this is just the Rebel Fighters that I have for working on the shield that I worked on. Like, Gear 12 base because, oh god, I have nothing else. but it seems to tend to steal a pretty decent amount of efficiency, and I do think that Biggs has to be a fairly big part of that. Biggs getting reactivated, and then like, you know, this isn't a great ability, but it's some attempted protection tax, right? You can do worse. And yes, my Mothma does not have the Heidi Zeta. He does need it. I mean, I could do it now. We're going to 3v3, and like, kind of what's the point there? But yeah, I don't know. I'm curious. I'm hopeful for 3v3. Last time I did this, I was just like crazy all in on defense, and offense was a train wreck, but like a train wreck where I came out on top and my opponents very rarely cleared. I don't know where the meta's going to be at now, and I'm not really the person to think about 3v3 that intensely, so we'll see. I should be done this time though. I mean, the plus 25% speed would be nice, but I don't really want this offense. Palbis and Scout and Kara. I think that's a good generalist team. Kara maybe has uses in other places, like right on defense, that I think might end up pulling her aside. But, you know, if you worked on Jedi Master Luke, you've got some decent options in that slot. I think, like, POW Scout, you could probably consider for the most part. And then just from there, you just adapt. Like, Cassian, again, I am not condoning gearing these characters. They're very outdated and don't really get a lot of help. Like, I think Cassian for LSTB, or in some scenarios, maybe, like, trying to screw with mess solos in some cases. Cassian will help. But, I mean, like, the one thing, like, the positive thing to say about this faction is that they are kind of a toolkit. I really, really enjoy toolkit teams because it rewards you for knowing the matchups, knowing the teams, knowing the modding, all of that good stuff. It's just a bummer because they need to be geared and relics pretty well to shine, since the team, like, the fact that it's a stature over the entire team compared to, like, even just Chupio, like, you could conceivably, if you're a fairly new player, you could just happen to have, like, a Gear 13 CLS, a Gear 13 Chupio, which, I mean, you know, yes. I mean, technically it doesn't even have to be Gear 13 Chupio, right? But, like, and then, like, Gear 12 on the rest of the Rebels, and they'll still drive fairly cleanly. Like, they're not going to be, like, OD damage output for, you know, that we're kind of used to now coming out of the Rebel team, but, you know, that's some pretty nice bang for your buck. Any single characters that stat share is, like, hyper efficiency, and then Mon Mothma feels like the exact opposite. Is like almost more investment than it's worth. Like, yes, you're still giving 8% extra from a single character's gear, but like, I'm not a fan. Right, I'm grateful enough to just have these 4 characters done passively from past choices, and it honestly kind of salvaged my roster because my Wedge was Gear 11, my Biggs was Gear 12, and my Lando was like Gear 10. So Luke needing them made some pretty dumb past choices. Basically, I could just say like, oh yeah, all planned. I was just 2 years ahead of the curve. That was, yeah. I don't have much fluff in my roster, but I mean, Biggs Chase was my first real team. I mean, I say real, like literally this is when the Palpatine rework was hitting, so it was already pretty dated at that point, but that was my first true love. I mean, look, whatever. Wedge lead, I think, is still a little bit sleeper. It's just, the problem is it comes tied to Wedge Antilles. The Rebels don't really have a whole lot of room. But, I mean, like, I rewind this conversation 10 minutes, and I mentioned that people are critically hitting a lot now. And then imagine getting 10% turn meter on top of that per crit. You could do a lot with that. That's all I'm saying. And CLS technically isn't that required. He's just nice to have, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not a Wedge truther just yet, but there's something there for sure. 30% offense. Luke gives you 15. That's technically double. Still not a huge amount. Like 30% offense and then 10% turn meter per crit. And like Han shoots first at the start, so that's basically 20% free turn meter to Han, 10% to Chewie, and 10% to Chupio. There's some stuff. There's some stuff. That's all I'm saying. And it's reliable stuff. It's not like Luke where you're relying on getting resisted, which is probably the clunkiest turn meter game mechanic that we have. So Plus, actually, technically. You know, 175 base speed, I think he's more competitive than CLS on opening speed. And granted, CLS like gets the turn doubling. But he's 3 base speed higher than CLS. I don't know. I don't know. It's CLS is. I'm not saying Wedge is better than CLS. Like obviously, it binds all things. It's really good, consistent turn meter gain. Like I really come to appreciate this Zeta over time recently, even though I'm not really necessarily modded for it now. I actually really enjoyed running CLS with a Tenacity Cross and Crit Avoid Arrow. I think that felt stupidly clean. It was basically having a third guard, and that felt pretty sick. But I have always not really been a fan of CLS lead, and maybe now more than ever, I'm feeling that to some degree. So, yeah, we'll see. Maybe in the future. CLS will actually almost definitely be a better stat share target than Wedge will, though. That's probably the biggest mark against him. Yeah, no, that's like a 100% guarantee. Okay. The topic kind of did. Chupio almost like kind of ruined it. He made it better and he made it worse. Because this makes it better. It's just more value from Wedge lead, but it also Wedge is just worse on this paragraph. So life goes on. All right, let's call it there. This went a little bit longer than I expected. I guess I'll just be hopping straight on over to Fallen Order 66 Ahsoka. Just still a little bit clunky title, but yeah. Playing Fallen Order, max difficulty, with some extra added difficulty mods. Ahsoka versus clones is the theme. It's still basically the same campaign, but just with a lot of remixed encounters towards the mid and late game. Some new enemies added. Some actually pretty thematic enemies for Ahsoka, I'll say. And also, I'm not allowed to heal at all, which is as difficult as it sounds. Although I'm making better progress than I expected given those rolls. So could be going a lot worse. Just don't watch the first day, because it did go worse for a little bit. But yeah, alright. If you want to stop by there, I will see you over there. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Peace out.